In a quiet green forest lived a little ant. She worked with honesty, stayed focused, and always gave her best. Others respected her, but she hardly felt it. Something inside was slowly growing, a quiet dissatisfaction she didn't understand. When the peacock opened his bright feathers and began to dance, her chest tightened. Everyone looks at him, and I feel invisible, she thought. A butterfly lifted into the air with ease, and the ant sighed to herself. Why don't I have wings? Why do I stay on the ground while others fly so freely? Even the squirrel jumping from branch to branch made something unpleasant twist inside her. Day by day, she compared herself to others more and noticed her own worth less. With time, she began pulling away from everyone. Work no longer brought joy. She became quiet, distracted, and often sat alone. When someone asked how she felt, she answered with a small forced smile. Nothing more. One day, heavy clouds covered the sky and a strong storm crashed into the forest. Branches snapped under the wind. Rain poured without stopping. The river rose and pushed past its banks, leaving many animals without homes. As the rain kept falling, butterfly wings grew heavy, too heavy to lift. Not far away, a squirrel sat beside a fallen tree, shaking with fear and not knowing where to run. The peacock struggled too, his wet feathers stuck tightly to his body, making him unable to move with pride. All around them, the forest that once felt full of life suddenly looked broken and silent. But deep underground, the ant colony stayed safe. Their strong tunnels held firm through the storm. The little ant looked at the suffering around her, and something inside her changed. Not envy, not sadness, but a quiet, steady desire to help. I spent so much time comparing myself, she thought. But now what matters is what we can do for others. She turned to the other ants and said, "They need help. If we stay together, we can support them. Let's do everything we can." And the ants followed her without hesitation. They spread across the forest, helping wherever they could. Some gently lifted the wet butterfly and carried her to a warm, dry spot. Others gathered leaves and made a soft bed for the shaking squirrel. A small group went to the peacock, carefully brushing the water from his feathers until he could raise them again. Tiny creatures doing work far bigger than themselves, and doing it with heart. When the storm finally passed, the butterfly, the squirrel, and the peacock came to thank her. The peacock said softly, "I've seen many kinds of beauty, but yours is the strongest." The squirrel added, "You showed me today that real strength is in helping, not in showing off." The butterfly smiled. "You lifted all of us. That means more than any shine or wings." For the first time in her life, the little ant felt true pride. She understood that value is not in being like others, but in being yourself. From that day on, she stopped comparing herself to everyone around her. She saw meaning in her work and finally noticed her own strength. Sometimes we get so focused on other people's advantages that we stop noticing our own. But our own qualities become strengths when we start using them. Even one small step toward our abilities can show us that we are capable of much more. Stop comparing yourself to others and trust what already lives inside you. This is what opens doors that once seemed closed, and this is where real, confident movement forward begins. Yes, my dear friends, thank you for staying with us until the last word. Follow what you do best and move toward the places where your strengths make your life better. Let this story remind you that you mean more than you sometimes think. See you in the next chapter.